Right, time capsules. Time capsules. That's the theme for today's Bridging Week activity. You've probably heard of them, but if not, if you're not sure what a time capsule is, it's something that you might bury in the hopes that somebody in the future might find it, and then that person in the future could look back into your life and the time that you buried it and the sort of wider context of the time in which you buried it, and they might learn something. They might learn something about you. They might learn something about the time that you live in. And that's a really exciting prospect. I mean, words cannot describe how excited I would be if I was out, I don't know, somewhere digging and found like a time capsule, or I heard about one on the news, and finding these items that somebody had left behind to kind of mark a moment in their lives. I would be like a kid at every single Christmas they've ever had. So I thought it would be kind of fun to do that and to ask you guys what you would put in a time capsule. I have actually built one, by the way. I'm not just doing this for the camera. This is like a wooden chest, a crudely built wooden, fairly heavy chest that I've built, because I'm actually going to bury some stuff, like in the hopes that someone might find it in the future. But the point is, it's relating to what we do as historians with sources. If you've done history, or if you're doing history at the minute, you probably know quite a bit about looking at historical sources and how you try to extract as much information out of them as you can to figure out what that person's talking about, or what the issue is, or how helpful that particular source is to an historian. You're making judgments, and we do this at A level. We make a judgment on that source, and we think, is that helpful to us, to understand the time that it comes from? What does it tell us? So I thought it might be a nice idea to flip that on its head a bit, and I'm going to try and design a source that may help an historian in the future understand now. Okay? Because we're living in a bit of an odd time, as you're aware, hence why we're not face to face doing Bridging Week like we might normally be. Lockdown. I want to design a little time capsule that reflects life in lockdown. So I've got 5 items. I've limited myself to 5 items, and the challenge at the end, which I'll tell you about in a minute, is 5 items. Okay? What 5 items could I possibly put in this box and then bury it in my garden? I am actually going to bury it as well. Hang on. That might tell an historian of the future, 100 years down the line, 50 years down the line, what lockdown 2020 was like. So here we go. I'm just going to dive in. Here's my 5 items that I'm going to put in this chest and bury it. Here is number 1. You might know what this is. You might not. But perhaps if you look at this bit, it is a part from a bicycle. Now, I realise it's a bit odd as the starting piece, but this actually represents 3 different things about lockdown for me. Okay, 1, and I've explained this in a letter that I'm going to put in there as well for a future historian to hopefully one day read. 3 things this means. 1 is that we've had a bit more time on our hands than perhaps we otherwise would have, and I've been meaning to fix this bike that I've had for quite some time. Luckily enough, I've got another one to get to work and back, but this is a project bike that I've had for quite a while. I'm trying to fix, and I've actually got it done in this lockdown period. Finally, all the parts are now on. If any of my current second years happen to be watching this, yes, this is the bike that the pedal fell off when I was on my way to work. So I did fix it, guys. I said I would. The second thing that this represents is the 17% fall in carbon emissions. I do care about the environment, I love hearing about this idea of like green recovery, and industries need a green plan to come out of the lockdown, and that's really good. And the fact that 17% reduction in carbon's happened at one point in time for the lockdown is such a bad thing. I'm reasonably happy about that. Okay? And the third thing that it represents is a phrase called social distancing, because that phrase right now, that means everything to us, but it'll disappear. When we meet in person, the phrase social distancing might be a thing of the past, and someone in the future reading this phrase, social distancing, what is this? They need some help understanding what this is. And we, obviously, as you no doubt know, we're being encouraged to get everywhere on foot or by bike, stay off public transport if we can. So that's the third thing that represents, all in that one little artifact. And it's going to be an artifact that's going in this box to get buried. That's that in there. The second item is this, a car. Okay, it's not my car. I can't afford to drive this car. This is a 6.1 litre Dodge Challenger with the Hemi upgraded engine. It's a car that I love looking at. I'm never going to drive one. But I'm putting that in there because to represent my new working environment. I'm in my garage. Okay, I don't live in such a horrible dark house, thankfully. You know, this is my garage. This is my new desk. I've got my computer there, and this is where a lot of us will be doing our work. A colleague of mine I know is in his shed at the minute, having been banished from the house. You know, maybe you've got similar working conditions or situations. You're in your bedrooms, maybe, or something. I don't know. It's just not what we normally do. So that the car's going in there for that reason. I explained that in the letter. That's maybe less helpful. I don't know. The next item that I'm putting in is this. It's an old phone. Okay, it's an old smartphone, and I'm putting that in there because this is how we've been staying in touch. Okay, we can't really meet face to face. We can't really meet our families face to face unless we live in the same household. And if this had happened, you know, even 15 years ago, 10 years ago, we might not have been able to do that. Okay, so the whole point in that going in there is to represent how we stayed in touch. So hopefully in the story of the future could get loads from that. Okay, that's going in there. Next one is a little photo album with some pictures in, some family pictures. Because I think it'll be really cool if someone digs this up in 50 years time or 100 years time to think, who buried this? Oh, these guys did it. This is wonderful, seeing their faces and seeing who they were and how happy they were. But the reason it's going in there is because we've had lots more time to spend with our families, and I've enjoyed that, to be honest. So maybe not everybody has. I don't know about my family. Maybe they don't like me being around too much. I don't know. But for me, I mean, I've got young boys, and seeing them grow up a little bit more is really nice. And this time of year, I would normally, oddly enough, be sat in here marking exam scripts because I work for the exam board, and I would mark thousands and thousands of essays into the night, late at night, just to get it done, you know, get the best kind of results for the students, make sure I'm understanding what these exams are all about. And it's nice to have a little bit of a break from that when the boys are young. So that's why that's going in there. Okay? The next and final thing is a CD, just of some music that I like. And that's gone in there, to just sort of show the story in the future, what we listen to, assuming you can read this data off the CD, which is almost like an artifact already. That's my CD player over there in my office. That's how I listen to music. The other reason is obviously lots of people in the lockdown have struggled with mental health. And I hope, you know, if anybody is feeling that, you know, talk to someone, and I hope we all find a way through the lockdown. But listening to music's just a little way that I like to calm myself down. You know, everybody gets a little bit frustrated at times, or you can get just a little bit cross at times or whatever. Music's just a nice, relaxing thing. Okay, I'm not pretending that would solve, you know, some people's mental health issues, but we'll all find a way through it. That's why that's going in there. It's just a tiny little symbol about us all finding a way through this. Okay, that's going in there next. I'm going to nail that up in a second. Okay, but my challenge to you is, you don't have to actually build one and bury it. I'm not suggesting you dig up your parents' gardens or like go to the park or with a spade, you know. Police will probably have words with you, maybe. Unless you want to, in the garden, maybe. I'm not suggesting you bury anything, but what I would like you to do is send us the 5 things that you would put in a time capsule. And the best theoretical time capsule, you're going to win a £10 voucher. Okay, so when you email me, j.stubbs@g.qeliz.ac.uk, the best 5 items, you're going to win a £10 voucher. Okay, so I'm going to nail this up, and I'm going to go bury this in the garden. Okay, and I'll film that bit too for you, just as proof. Right, here's the proof that I am actually going to nail this up. I am actually going to bury it. So you needn't stick around for the whole of the chest closing. It up nice and tight. I'm going to write on time capsule, please open, just in case People don't know what this nondescript chest is. Right. And in marker pen. Capsule. Please open. Now to go and bury it. There we have it. Nestled between the trees in my garden, waiting, hopefully, for someone to dig it up. In lots of years' time is my time capsule. Please open on the front of the chest. Time capsule, please open. Okay, don't forget, the competition is the best 5 items that you would put in a theoretical time capsule. Again, I'm not suggesting you come and bury one in your garden like I have. I'm a bit out of breath. You need to warm up before you do it, if you do. The best 5 theoretical items that best represent life in lockdown, sent to me, or Gary for that matter, and you win a £10 voucher by the end of the week. And tune in on Friday for our live Zoom webinar, and we'll announce the winners. Okay, stay safe, see you soon.